You have entered the outlet.
Welcome to the outlet.
Where tech and entertainment connect.
I want to talk about focus.
Where we spotlight blacks in STEM.
Hi, Shiro. Give me some energy, ma'am.
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
It's the real deal.
Our entrepreneurs.
You ready?
Tech and entertainment news.
Doing my own talk show.
The entertainment industry. Behind the scenes and all things in between.
And it's nothing but the truth.
Get ready to be enlightened, get inspired. Now your host, DJ Kei-Touch.
Yes, it's the outlet with Kei-Touch. Just excited to be with Lamont Nelson. He is CEO of Revnation Inc. That's RevnationInc.com. Welcome to the outlet with Kei-Touch, Lamont.
Hey, Key, how's it going? How's your day?
Everything is great. I mean, I'm with you. History in the making. I love this. This is what I live for.
Yeah.
Black history in the making. And I have the pleasure of being with you today. So I'm having a great day.
Having a great day, too. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Look, we're talking about a Monday, April 17th.
That's right. Let's go.
Lamont,
April 17th. Let's go.
Lamont will be the first Black American to launch an IPO in Petroleum Ethanol Fuels. Wow.
That's right. The first, history in the making. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's going to happen now. This is our year, baby. 2023. This is our year. It's that time.
2023, and that's why we have to get the word out. I will be saying the website throughout this podcast. Revnation.inc.com, Revnationinc.com.
That's right.
But I have to start, I got to go back to the beginning, Lamont. Petroleum, how did you get introduced to petroleum and playing with it? That's interesting.
Crazy story. So my grandfather used to bootleg alcohol from South Carolina. And when I know, but I'm gonna tell it. My grandfather used to bootleg from South Carolina to New York, all the time, and he would make corn liquor in the yard. And as a young man, sitting there watching him do that, he taught me actually how to fermentate corn, and it was such a big deal to my family because back then it wasn't easy to survive in the South, but it's something that my family did to get by. We had a lot of land and things like that. So instead of letting the corn just get eaten by the rodents and things like that, my grandfather started cooking it up. He would make ethanol alcohol, and that's how we got here.
Wow. Okay. So you got to connect some dots for me, Lamont, and shout out to your grandfather, bootlegger, making things happen. I mean, but it's really interesting because it's science in everything that we do. And I want to bridge the gap. We're talking about bootlegging and petroleum. What did you gain from that concept, or what did your grandfather show you about petroleum as it relates to bootlegging?
So a lot of folks don't know the alcohol that we drink every day is nothing but corn. A lot of folks don't understand that. Alcohol is straight corn. You get alcohol from corn. Okay, when you ferment corn, you get alcohol, and a lot of folks don't know that. You can make rubbing alcohol, you can make alcoholic drinks, anything that you want. Anything fermented, even petroleum. Like gasoline. That's actually they use that to make plastic as well. So these are what they're considered to be petroleum-based lubricants.
Okay, my mind went somewhere else, but I got you. Petroleum-based lubricants.
That too, but yes, it happens.
Wow, but I mean, you just taught me something today. You said that comes from corn when it ferments, it's alcohol.
That's
Wow,
right.
interesting. And one of my favorite shows of all time is Boardwalk Empire. When they're
Oh
talking
wow,
about
I've
prohibition.
never seen it, but now I gotta check it out though.
Oh, you have to see it. It's a wonderful show. We could talk about that another time. But okay, so when you were a kid, what in particular would he show you, or what did he show you, and what kind of tricks would he use? Did he use like some kind of concoction to I don't know what kind of equipment he had, but I know at a minimum he had like a lawnmower or something like that. Or
So we had a lawnmower. My grandfather, he had a car, and sometimes the lawnmower wouldn't start. Sometimes the car wouldn't start. Man, we had this old raggedy, beat up Buick, with the holes in it and stuff like that, and he just couldn't get it to run. And then one day he was like, "Oh, I know what to do. It needs to be cleaned out. The fuel pump's probably dirty. The injector's probably is dirty." He said, "We're gonna sit here. We're gonna get this barrel. We're gonna get the boiling out here. We're gonna get the cooking." And my grandfather started making the ethanol in the barrel. It had like some type of lid on top. He welded to it, but he went through the process. And by the time he was done, he poured it into the car. And I say within like 10 minutes, the car fired right up. And I was like, man, I was like, that's crazy. The same with the lawnmower. He would pull the ripcord, it would never start up, but then he would put the alcohol in there, and then it would start right up. And I'm like, man, this stuff is extremely potent, you know. But because when you put alcohol in your hand, it has that cooling effect, it doesn't really burn. But at the same time, when that happens, it's actually cleaning things. That's why in the hospital they use alcohol to prep you a lot, because they know that when you wipe yourself down, it's going to clean everything to get the surface ready.
oh, that makes sense. That's why they give you like the little alcohol swabs. They do that
Yeah,
before they stick you because I hate needles and draw your blood and do it at the end. Wow. Okay.
exactly.
RevnationInc.com, RevnationInc.com. And I have to go back to your grandfather's story. And it's something that we often overlook, and that's overlooked amongst Black people in general. A lot of things that Black people did and invented, it was out of necessity. I have a need to do something. And it's not even that I'm seeking to be an innovator or this, that, and the third, but I have to use my skill set to make things happen. Like you said, your grandfather did with the car, just
That's
knowing how
right.
to make
And
things
you
work.
know, we're innovators in this world, Like we invented so many things, we invented the stove, the curling iron, the straightening comb, all these things that, that's part of our culture. Look at George Washington Carver, the peanut, like all of these things we created, this is all black history all over again. It's just
And
coming forward now.
and it's American history. I actually say that all the time. I'm an American, no hyphen. But yes, it's definitely very innovative, the things we were doing or are doing. Like even the device to remove cataracts was invented by a Black woman, Dr. Patricia Bath, the home security alarm system. And then today we have Lamont Wilson. I mean, Nelson. Oh, I messed up your last name.
Wow.
I got so excited. Lamont
It's okay.
Nelson,
Wilson.
CEO. Nelson, CEO
That's
of
right.
Revnation Inc.
I'm gonna laugh at you for that one. Like Wilson, like Family Matters. I'm not the Wilson family. I'm the Nelson family, but I got you.
And I love your last name. We'll talk about that later. Again, this is
Exactly.
just incredible, incredible history in the making, which is so exciting. So, for you to want to play with petroleum, I mean, did you do this kind of stuff in school, or do you just use it? Are you like a car fanatic, or what?
I'm
What led
really
you?
big into cars. I'm really, really big into cars. Most cars that run on, gasoline, they're considered to be fast, but a car that runs on ethanol alcohol is almost 100% faster because ethanol alcohol burns cooler than gasoline. Gasoline runs hotter. You ever
Hmm.
notice that cars need Cadillac converters when they run on gasoline because they dump so much pollutants? Where if your car's running on ethanol alcohol, there's no emissions behind it. And that's just the key right there. The cooler a car runs, the more efficient, the more horsepower it makes. But if you're running gasoline, the hotter, you have to burn it up. You have to cook it all the way through, just to make that power, and it's just not worth it.
I mean, Lamont, you sound like a nerd on this. I love it. I love it. You are educating us today. We're talking about clean energy. We're talking about ethanol based, am I saying this right? Ethanol based fuels.
Yes, you are. You're saying it 100% correct. Ethanol-based fuels. Fuels is made from corn, which is a renewable energy, something that we need,
Something that we need and it grows straight out the ground. I love it.
and it's recyclable too.
What? The corn?
Yeah. For instance, let's say you go to a restaurant, you eat some corn and corn on the cob and stuff like that. You throw away the cob, right? But you can take that cob and you can turn it into corn. You can turn it back into alcohol. It can be trash, but you can turn it back into corn.
This is fascinating. I mean, I'm getting a science lesson here today, Lamont Nelson. So with cars, so you have a fascination with cars. So when did you just kind of start going back to the things you observed as a child and did as a child with your grandfather as it pertains to petroleum?
So I'm gonna tell you the whole truth. Some woman bought me this like 1994, like I think it was like a Chevy Cavalier or something, and she
Okay.
couldn't get it to start. And I'm like, man, this car's old. I was like, man, I'm sitting here thinking, like, just take this car to the junk. You know what I'm saying? Just junk it. But of course, it was her mom's car. And she didn't want to go through that. And no matter how many times I tried to flush, the car out, I just couldn't get it to start. And then one day I remembered I was like, if I had some ethanol alcohol, that would actually get the car to start. So that's pretty much what I did. I poured it to where the fuel injectors would go. Also pour some in the tank, and I just kept turning the key, turning the key, turning the key. And when the car fired over, it started and it ran. I was like, once again, my grandfather was deceased now, but once again, the old things actually matter and they actually work.
Wow. That's just absolutely amazing. Shout out to her to get you to go back to your roots on how to get it started.
That's right. And now this is why we're going into the future with it. I had to go back to the past to come back into the future.
What's your grandfather's name? We got to shout him out
Bluebird Stevens.
one more time.
Bluebird Stevens.
Bluebird Stevens. Is he still with us?
No, he passed away back in like 2006.
All right. Shout out and may you rest in peace, Mr. Blue Bird Stevens. It's the
Yes.
outlet touch. Only the game changers, innovators, trendsetters, and go getters on the outlet. And of course, we have Lamont Nelson with us today, April 17th, 2023 IPO launch. That stands for Initial Public Offering. We're taking you on a journey today. Lamont has a fascination for cars. Lamont, talk to us. What happened? COVID-19 that hit. What happened?
Man, COVID-19, we've been through so much during the pandemic, and it's crazy. And let me just touch on this. So many of our businesses, they just struggled, and they needed help during the pandemic. So because I own Revnation, what Revnation started doing, we started doing, car pop-ups and car events at restaurants so that they wouldn't go under. Like Kitchen Cray Cafe, we would do it every other Sunday, just so the folks can come out so that way, that establishment wouldn't go under. It got to the point to where we was taking an email list, for folks to say, hey, can you come to my business this week? Or can you come to this business next week? We were doing it just to keep businesses afloat, and we were very successful at it.
Wow. So you were giving back.
Yes, definitely had to get back for the pandemic because, despite the fact it was, social distancing, but at the same time, it's like, hey, we're outside. When PG County said, hey, you can be outside, that's the first thing we started doing. Like, we got to come up with creative ways to come back and help the community because they need us. And doing those Red Nation cars and brunch every other Sunday, man, I think Kitchen Crate and Cafe, they done expanded like 4 other locations now.
Wow. And so that's something very powerful that you just said. We need each other. And you mentioned the key word community. There's a difference between a neighborhood and a community. It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference.
There's
So
definitely a difference.
shout out to you for that. So when did you start up Rev Nation? RevNationInc.com.
So Revnation Inc. started in what is it, August of 2022. That's the baby. But Revnation LLC is the company before the corporation, and we
Okay.
started that in 2019. Revnation
Wow.
LLC was created so that way we can do events and work, and get contracts and stuff with the county. You know what I'm saying? The state police, so we can do events. Because back then, we wasn't thinking about forming no company just to do events, but we formed a company to do events. We was very successful at it, and we just kept it going.
That's smart. Knowledge is power. Information is power. That is what it's all about.
Yeah,
So,
we've done so much. Like, we rented out Bowie Baysock Stadium. We gave away bicycles. We gave away laptop computers back to the
you didn't
community.
call me. Okay, let me stop.
I didn't know you then, but we gave away free laptops, free bicycles, and things like that at Bowie Baysock Stadium just to give back to the kids.
Love it. We're talking about Bowie, Maryland, in the DMV. Lamont Nelson, CEO of Revnation Inc., RevNationInc.com. So, Lamont, this is really cool what we're talking about, but tell me what started happening with the cars and the brunch and the shows with the pop ups that you were doing during the pandemic that led you to where we are today with about to launching this IPO. What happened?
So let me tell you what happened. We started going outside, of course, running the street like any other person, and they would come out and do like these car events, but folks will have cars, and I started telling people that, hey, Rev Nation, we're going to start making fuel as well, we're going to start doing motor oil as well, and people got really really excited. So what I started doing, I started giving away 55-gallon drums to folks for them to actually test out in their cars. Then eventually they kept coming back to buy it more and more and more, and I'm like, guys, like, I need to go into full production if you guys are going to be buying it like this. I'm sitting here selling barrels of, ethanol alcohol, at almost $300, a barrel. I was producing like anywhere between about, say, about like 10 barrels a week, you know.
Wow. And this is
Yes.
what you was kind of doing on the side, something to do to keep the businesses afloat. And you gave out your product and then they coming back for more.
Yeah, because they realized that, from the gas station, you probably get like E60, The average ethanol fuel should be 85% alcohol and 15% gasoline. Me, I'm not a chemist, but sometimes, they'll end up with, E90 or E95, But when they put it in their cars, they're like, man, my car just did this fast time down the track, or my car runs even faster now. And they was all getting so excited. So the hype got out and people started finding out. And it was like, oh man, like we got to support this guy. And they was like, man, you should take this public. Like, this is some really good ethanol.
This is awesome. And the key here that I want to emphasize is Lamont Nelson was giving back during COVID, having fun with things he enjoys doing with the cars and racing. And I don't know how many speeding tickets he has. I'm just joking. But as a result of him giving back, he's been blessed to have this opportunity. And along with this opportunity, he wants to share. He won't let me Kei-Touch again. Only game changers, innovators, trendsetters, go getters, one place. Today we are talking to CEO of Revnation Inc.,
That's right.
RevNationInc.com, Lamont Nelson. I'll never mess up that name again. This is some boss stuff.
That's
So,
right.
we've been talking about the IPO for Revnation Inc. So, knowledge is power. We're going to start off by talking about what an IPO is. According to Investopedia, an initial public offering refers to the process of offering shares of a private corporation to the public in a new stock issuance for the first time. An IPO allows a company to raise equity capital from public investors. And so this is huge and it happens all the time. But what does not happen all the time is an opportunity to get in on the ground level.
That's
And
right.
for many people, I don't want to lose anyone. A lot of people don't understand stocks, the stock market, stock exchanges, share prices, any of those things. But information is power. You can read. It is 2023. There's so much information out there from credible
Yes.
sources for you to
Yes.
educate yourself. So I'm encouraging everyone who doesn't understand what we're talking about to get that understanding. I need you to do your research. Initial public offering. And when we're talking about stock and we're talking about share prices, think of your favorite companies. I'm sure they're public. I'm
That's
sure
right.
they're public and they're being traded daily. And just to give you an example, I want to go to Wally World. No, Walmart, right?
Same person though. He did it right though.
He did it right. And so Walmart, for example, their IPO was in 1970. 1970. So imagine people who bought in to Walmart 1970 and
Yeah.
what their share prices are today. And today, Walmart's share price is $148.48 per share.
Wow. And just think about all the folks that got in at a dollar, or maybe a dollar 50, even $5, and they held those shares, because Walmart, they're kind of doing the same way how I did it. Walmart announced they was going to do an IPO, but then they pretty much had let everyone get the shares. Then the following year later, then they activated their IPO, and then they let it run. Revnation, we're doing the same thing with CorpNex. That is the smartest way to do it because you get in, and once you get in, you get your shares, and then all the shares get released at one big time, and then you get to watch the run up. You get to watch everyone come in and be a part of making that history, to pay it forward, to help get generational wealth. It is so important.
And that's what it's all about. And information, that's why I keep saying information is power, knowledge is power. Because if you don't know, you don't know. You're wondering how all these people are doing better than you, and you don't have a clue on how to get in. We're trying to explain something to you today.
Exactly. And for the ladies that's listening, I'm going to give you a good one. Ultra Beauty hair products. Those stores are everywhere, right? They offer their shares, I believe it was back in like what, 1996, 1997. They were selling shares to certain folks at 10 cents. You look at Ultra Beauty today, it's up there, because that's the key. You got to get in at the ground floor. When you get in at the ground floor, that's where you get the success. You don't want to chase a stock like Tesla at $1,000 a share, $500 a share, because you only get one share. You want to get into a company where you can get multiple shares, maybe 500 shares, 1,000 shares, and then watch it grow.
And then watch it grow. And that's so important that you're saying that because, like you said, Ulta Beauty, INC, today is $534.66
Exactly.
per share.
Exactly. And Ultra Beauty wasn't even affected by the pandemic because they were still selling hair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
definitely. I'm not
Ultra Beauty.
surprised.
That's right. I'm trying to tell you.
And then we're talking about let's get into your market. Again, please go to revnationinc.com and you'll be able to sign up to get alerts. What will they get alerts on? Lamont Nelson, CEO, Rev Nation
Right.
Inc., Black History in the Making on the
Right.
outlet.
That's right. And if they go to that website, they can click on Class C shares and they can get registered on there. So that way, when it goes live and when shares are available, they can get in first. Because see, that's the key. To get in first before everyone else gets there, that is the key to getting generational wealth.
That
Shares
is
opening up at a dollar, right? Well, let's just say shares are going to open at a dollar. I'm being honest with you. They're going to be a dollar per share. I'm making it cheap for our folks to get in. But see, this is when you're going to worry because within, I say by May, the big boys are coming to play, which is people like Bank of America, Chase and stuff. They like to invest in companies too. And you know what they come and do? They say, oh, I'm going to buy these shares at $5 a share. And you know what that does for everyone else? That gets you less shares because now the price has changed to 5.
mm,
So you always want to get into a company when you get the chance to get in first before everyone else does. Because when the banks, what we call the big brother, comes to play, he's coming to change the price because he wants to own your shares to sell them back to people like you and me.
wow. And if nothing else, be a part of history in the making. Again, April 17th, 2023, Lamont will be the first Black American to launch an IPO in petroleum ethanol fuels.
Fuels.
So be a part of history. I know I mess up over a couple of dollars every week. It doesn't hurt. Is there a minimum of share people can buy? Or and when they go to revnationinc.com to get more information?
So it's going to either be a minimum of 250 at a dollar each or a minimum of 500. But guess what? Let me tell you a little something, and I'm going to tell you this now. It is more important now to invest into private companies now because see, we don't know what the future is going to be for the United States dollar. You don't want to be a person that if the dollar does crash and your money's sitting in the bank and it goes bye bye. And you can Google this. This is all news. This has been over the news for weeks. You want to have your money in something solid and solidified. That way, if the dollar does crashes and the United States decides to go digital, you can cash back out into digital dollars. You don't want to cash back out into something that's worthless. So that right there is also another key you need to watch out for. And I just gave you guys that one for free.
Wow, he gave us that for free. Is that only because you're on the outlet with Kei-Touch, Lamont? You want to share?
Oh yes, we definitely got to drop it on here because this is for us. It's kind of like FUBU.
For us, by us. And we
Exactly.
are talking about people of color. We love everybody. We love everybody. But it would be ignorant to say that Black people in America aren't behind on certain things, especially when we're talking about building generational wealth. And those of us that have made it, a lot of us don't share
That's right.
information. And information is freedom.
That's right.
It's freedom. And
Information will
you,
set you free. Information will give you success. Information will take you to the next level
why do you think it was a crime? And I'm not going to go too deep into this, but it was a crime to read if you were Black in a
because they
certain
didn't want you to know. They
communist
didn't want you to
country.
know the truth.
They don't want you
They
to
didn't
know
want
the
you to know the
truth.
truth. Just like how they tell you to go ahead and create an LLC, and the LLC is the worst thing you can do. If anything, you want to start a corporation. Corporation means that you guys can become a team and take the company to the moon. Well, LLC is just you, but they don't tell you that. But oops, that's another gem.
Ooh, all these gems. Hey, again, like I said, only the game changers, innovators, trendsetters, go getters on the outlet with
All
Keith
right.
Tut. Hey, you need to follow Lamont Nelson. You can follow him. Rev Nation on IG at Rev Nation on IG at Rev Nation _ Corp CORP on Twitter. RevNationINC.com. It doesn't cost $1 to sign up and get the information.
It's free.
Mm, free and powerful. Lamont Nelson, you have to be so excited about your grandfather. This is just really cool. The information that he was able to share.
We might be family. We
Lamont
might be
uncle
cousins.
too. You in the Carolinas. I don't know how far removed, but that last name is true. It's I'm related to Nelson's. Definitely related to Nelson's. Look, Lamont Nelson. You want to check out RevNationINC.com. Monday, it's all going down. Look, if you are listening to this after Monday, it's cool. Go to RevNationINC.com. They'll still get emails from you, right, Lamont?
That's right. They'll still get emails, and they'll also actually know how many shares is available, how many shares are sold, and everything like that as well. But at the same time,
Man,
I'm doing this for my people. I want to be the first. Like, hey, look, guys, you know, companies like Chevron is way up there in share price. Rev Nation, it's just time for us to get there. We have to do it. We have to do it for us,
we
especially
have
in this type
to do
of
it for
world, this
us.
type of economy. We have to come together as one and do it. If not, we all lose.
We all lose. And I'm just excited that we are talking about this on the outlet with Kei-Touch before it all goes down. You do not want to be left behind, at least be a part of Black history, American history, global history in the making.
That's
Hey,
right.
it's the outlet with Kei-Touch. Quickly, your closing thoughts, Lamont.
My closing thoughts. Don't ever let someone tell you that you can't do something. You have to do it. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid. Go forward because faith is the first step forward, even when you don't see the entire staircase.
Hey, we are talking to the CEO of Revnation Inc. RevnationInc.com. Again, follow Revnation on IG at Revnation and on Twitter at Revnation_Corp, CORP. Thank you so much, Lamont.
Thank you so much for having me. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you for joining The Outlet with DJ Kei-Touch. Stay connected with us at djkeitouch.com. That's DJKEI Touch.com.